got to break in. They got to break into Breaking Bread's podcast, and they could be taught.
Well, this is your lesson: how to be a classy, badass gentleman.
Hey, Anthony, where'd you get this podcasting stuff from?
It fell off the back of a truck.
Okay,
2 in a day, Sal, huh?
2 in a day.
And now we have the pleasure of filming with Arcangelo of the Little Cigar Factory.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
This is
What's
great.
going on?
This is a wonderful opportunity because Ark is a really busy guy.
100%.
Really busy guy.
We're all busy at the end of the day.
Very hard to nail you down, Ark.
It was nice to have the opportunity to not only be invited here, but we start off with a little tutto calcio,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
a little lunch, a little vino. Salute a tutti.
A salute.
I salute.
Happy Thursday. Cheers.
Thirsty
Happy
Thursday.
Yeah, Thirsty Thursday. Salute.
I wish it was only thirsty on Thursdays.
Yeah. The man, the myth, the legend, Arcangelo. I always call him that.
That's my name.
Yeah. Ark has lived like 100 lifetimes. This is something we were talking about before over lunch.
Yep. 48 years old. I'll be 49 March 30th. But yes, I feel like I definitely lived the life of 3 other individuals. It's all good.
Yeah. You started out in Brooklyn.
Born and raised my whole life in Williamsburg, Greenpoint. I tell everybody I came from the ghetto. The difference is that my ghetto's worth millions of dollars now.
Yeah.
I come from the gutter.
So Ark is obviously known most on social media for the Little Cigar Factory. It's his baby. It's been your business now for 10 years, over 10 years.
9 years.
9 years, almost 10 years.
Yep.
It's booming. It's a great spot on Willis Avenue in Albertson. It's a great cigar lounge, great company, and if you're there on Sundays, great food. I mean, I don't think I've ever eaten better,
Yeah.
let alone eaten better off a hot plate.
We have a lot of fun there. I tell everybody the same thing. LCF, Little Cigar Factory, the F really stands for family. And I left one passion of my life, Wall Street, to follow a dream, which is I'm passionate about cigars. And it's not about the cigar only. It's about what it brings, the people, the networking opportunity, the exposure. The cigar brings so many different things besides just the smoke, which is a lot of fun. But with that being said, I spend a lot of hours there, anywhere between 12 to probably my record's 22, 23 hours in one day being there and then turning around and going right back again. But you have, by default, especially part of our culture and our tradition, we like to break bread with friends and family. And I try to, not every Sunday, but when I can, when I have help, I love to break bread, just like here, breaking bread. And whatever it may be a simple plate of pasta or a piece of steak, just to share that food with our friends that now became family, because that's part of our culture, especially on Sundays. I think growing up, and I'm a little bit older than both of you, in Williamsburg, Greenpoint, 90% of all retail businesses were closed on Sunday, except for the pastry shop like Fortunato's or Napoli Bakery that would close around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then it was about going home to your family, eating, drinking. Maybe you would get that phone call and you would actually pick up the phone because you didn't know who was going to be on the other end, or maybe actually answer the doorbell when it rang instead of shutting the lights off and hiding, and it'll be a kumara, kumbaro, or another family friend come by 6, 7 o'clock with a little piece of cake or whatever, start chatting it up. Next thing you know, 11 o'clock at night, you're making spaghetti, garlic, and oil. Very a poor man's dish. But the memories and experiences that I still retain from that, going back 40 years ago, are priceless. And not that I'm trying to bring that back, but what I'm trying to say is that it was simple times, but the best times.
Yeah.
We live in a rapid society today. Everyone's on the go. Globalization has taken over in many different facets, everything from the internet to FaceTiming, where you don't need that one-on-one connection anymore, that physical connection, because if you feel lonely, you just FaceTime somebody, or you vicariously see what they're not doing or not doing through Facebook and through other social media, and has changed the world that we live in. I have a 12-year-old daughter. I try to bring some of those traditions back. I'm guilty of it too. Like I just stated, I work on Sundays, so I don't have the opportunity to go home every Sunday and break bread with my family. I do with the extension of my family now, friends, customers, what have you. But it's so important for all of us to try to take a step back and just try to really think about what is really this life of ours purpose besides always being on the go.
Right.
It is so important to be focused and to try to make money to better our families, stability, security. But honestly, we got to try to take a step back and see what really counts. Because if you go back to our parents, with a lot less, they did so much more. And I think we're losing a little bit of that today.
100%.
Yeah.
You're really your wisdom is paramount. It really is unparalleled. One of the points you made, and it's a great one, is when compadres would come over, and they'd show up in the early afternoon, and before you knew it, it was 11 o'clock at night, and we'd start something. It was that stay a while mentality. Get comfortable. That's what it feels like at Little Cigar Factory. Come in, sit down, stay a while.
Yeah.
Whether you're having a nice conversation, or you're engaged in a game with friends, or you're watching something good on TV, just relax, light a cigar, and stay a while, and slow down.
Right. And that's the whole purpose of it. If you walk in, you'll see a sign on the outside of the retail part that says the recovery room.
Yeah.
And I want you, smoking a cigar is an investment anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes, depending on how much you smoke it and the size and shape of the cigar. But you want that lounge area to be an opportunity to escape from reality, reset your mind, laugh a little bit, express yourself, vent if necessary. I tell everybody I have 2 ears and one mouth. I like to do twice the amount of listening, half the amount of talking, unless we're on a podcast, of course. And that's what we try to do. We're struggling in New York as far as a cigar shop is concerned because of taxation. Here in New York, we pay a 75% tobacco excise tax.
Oof.
Oh my
Then
God.
you pay for the cost of the cigar. Then you pay 8.865% sales tax. And believe it or not, we all deserve to make a profit, right? So you're talking 20%, 15%, depending on the cigar. We're struggling. We can't sell alcohol. We can't sell food. We're very limited on what we could do. So I'm blessed with the people that come and support my small business because of the experience. That is priceless. That you're not going to compare my experience off a competitor's website. That you're not going to compare when you go to a newsstand and buy a cigar for $1, $2 less than my retail shop. That's what you're coming for, the Little Cigar Factory experience. And we try to improve it every day. We're not perfect. We all get tired at the end of the day. It's some days a lot more fun than others. But you know what? I've been there, and some days were too quiet for me. And people there were first time, second time, say, oh, I just had the opportunity to sit in the corner, put my earbuds in, scroll through my phone, and just relax and enjoy my cigar. I'm saying to myself, that's kind of boring. But, hey, that made that person happy.
Yeah.
Me, I like a little bit more excitement, a little bit more action. But, again, I want that place to be a central location to satisfy everybody's particular personalities and desires and wishes.
Arc, one of the questions when I first met you that I was so enthralled with or wanted to find out the most about when it came to your story is like how you got into being the owner of a cigar shop, because that's a very niche thing. Like I feel like,
Yeah, you took a lot of different paths to get there.
like it's very, like a lot of roads came to this point.
Right.
So I would love to hear about it.
So I was with a very good friend of mine in college, Pace University, downtown Manhattan, and he wound up hurting himself, and he wound up suing Company A, and he wound up winning a lawsuit. So we started by celebrating with a cigar. Back then, you could smoke at 18. So I went to my first cigar shop on Mulberry Street in Little Italy called Three Little Indians. And may Larry rest in peace and his cousin Joe introduced my friend Dave and I to cigars for the first time. And we enjoyed it. And it was a great bonding experience and something unique to us both. we started going there often. Then came San Gennaro Feast, and we would go to dinner right next door to Pellegrino's a couple times a week. During the feast, I met a gentleman with his son and a Dominican cigar roller making cigars. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I've never seen anything like that. I went over, bought a cigar. They were very nice to me. I wound up buying a second cigar, and I took a business card. Took the business card. Next thing you know, our church in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, needed financial help, so we all, as parishioners, try to do different things to help out the church. And with another friend of mine, we decided to have a cigar dinner. Back then, you could smoke indoors, so we had it at the rectory. And I invited this gentleman to come that owned the Little Cigar Factory. If he was willing to come, he kept an open mind. We were a small crowd. I mean, at best, 30, 40 people. And through that, I kept in touch with the owner of the cigar company, and I started building a little private clientele on the side. I graduated college, started back office for Bear Stearns. You gentlemen won't even know what Bear Stearns is because Bear Stearns collapsed a while back. Then went from Bear Stearns to J.P. Morgan and continued my Wall Street career, but still love to dabble in cigars. It seems like Wall Street, cigars, drinking, gambling, all these kind of things go hand in hand. So I developed a little clientele on the side, and we started building up this church dinner every year. Next thing you know, leaving Brooklyn to come to Long Island is like a day trip. You know, I'm coming here once a week, picking up cigars for myself, picking up cigars for my friends. And now we turn that little 35-person cigar dinner for the church. We get anywhere between 350 to 500 people that come to the cigar dinner.
This is the Holy Smoke.
The Holy Smoke dinner in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. In the process, a friend of mine, Michael, introduces me to a blind date to my wife, Francine. We fell in love, and under a year I got engaged. 2 years later, we got married. We lived in Williamsburg, Greenpoint, in my parents' home. I loved life. I was very happy commuting into New York City. My wife had to commute to Fresh Meadows. I thought everything was perfect. We decided to have a child. We have a beautiful baby girl named Rosanna. And my wife says, Arcangelo, I think we need to make the next step and move to Long Island, closer to my family, what have you. I really didn't want to. I was very happy. Maybe the selfish part of me knew it was perfect where we lived, affordable, easy commute to New York City. My whole family, my sister lives across the street, my aunt lives next door. For God's sakes, the block's named after me.
Yeah.
Arcangelo Place. I mean,
Yeah.
who wants to leave Arcangelo Place? Beautiful terrace. We call it Terrace on the Arc. Fake palm trees up there, everything. We had a lot of fun. So, a wise man told me once, happy wife, happy life. So
Yes, sir.
we're looking into
Yes,
it,
sir.
and we found a home that was reasonably priced, close to the Hicksville train station, which is the main hub to New York City. And I found that I hated my life. I was getting up at 3:30 in the morning to catch the 436 Long Island Railroad to be at 53rd and Madison for 6 a.m. Started to hate my life. Year and a half into living on Long Island, the owners of the Little Cigar Factory approached me and said, hey, we know how passionate you're about cigars. We know that you love this business. We think you'd be a great fit. Would you be interested in buying the business from us because we want to retire from the retail part? Took me about 2 days to digest it before I even spoke to my wife about it. The words didn't even come out of my mouth in completion of my story that I wanted to propose to her. She's like, yes, you have to do it.
Wow.
So at that point, I decided to leave Wall Street where I was loved, respected, and did well. And it was a guaranteed, nothing's guaranteed in life, but it was nice to know I had a paycheck being deposited in my account every 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Versus leaving there, buying the business in the heart of winter, which is like the worst time to buy seasonal business, experiencing a hurricane the weekend of the business that I purchased, and in the process changing the age from 18 to 21, which I have no problem for consumption of tobacco products. I have no problem with that. And through the process of that, taxes being raised from 28.5% up to 75%. During that process, going through the pandemic, which many of us found challenging, considered non-essential. We were shut down for months, paying the rent, the electric, the cable for 2 places, trying to keep staff on board, and just trying to do the right thing for people. And I have no regrets. I'm terrified every day or every week or every month, am I going to be able to sustain and pay the bills and try to be a blue-collar guy on Long Island? Because at the end of the day, being rich is financially is awesome, and I'm blessed with from a friend that's a billionaire to friends of mine by the dozens that are millionaires, and I'm nowhere near them in the finance status world. But the wealth I have with the love and honor and respect that I have amongst my wife, my child, and my friends and my family,
And your happiness.
and my happiness is priceless. And all I want to do is have all that and just know that I could pay my bills, and I'll be a very happy man for the next many years God wants me in this world. And that's the short version of.
But that's a tremendous way to look at things, though.
Yeah.
Is putting your happiness above any sort of financial success and saying, that comes second. All that comes later. Now you have to worry about being happy. You have to worry about your family. Are they happy? Do they have what they need? And then you go from there.
That is true, Sal. But you know what? I also, the stubborn Arcangelo, agrees with you 100%. I know you and I went through similar surgeries, and there's definitely a recovery period when it comes to that type of stuff. And, friends and family will turn around and say to you, I experienced a lot of diverticulitis attacks. I had the resection of the colon surgery several years ago, and that's a process to heal from it. But I'm like, Doc, how quickly I get back to work? How quickly I get back? Arcangelo, you need at least 2 months to recover. I'm like, no, I think 2 weeks, I'm good. Arcangelo, no. My staples wound up opening up on me because I wanted to get back into track. Because at the end of the day, when Wells Fargo is looking for the mortgage payment, it's hard to say to the agent, you got to understand something. My friends and family came and said, you know what, my health comes first. You know what, everything else is secondary. That's usually coming from a person who is financially stable. But when you're on your own and you don't have mommy and daddy as backup, and you don't have, yes, we all save for a rainy day, but when it's got rainy months, it's hard. And you know what? I have too much pride to ask anyone for anything. Therefore, you get up, you put your big boy pants on, and you do what you have to do. So yes, you have to find that balance. Of course, we all want to be happy. Of course, we all want to be healthy. Without health, you have nothing else. But at the end of the day, reality checks in, and when those bills come in, they got to get paid. So you got to figure it out.
Yeah, that's providing your bills are paid.
Providing that, you know what, you put your big boy pants on, and that you can look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I owe no one nothing. I work very hard for everything I have. I'm not perfect, and I'm not going to look back at yesterday, and I'm going to stay focused, laser focused on how do I improve today and tomorrow going forward, and, work with the lemons that I have to make the best lemonade I can. And it's not easy. Every day is challenging. A lot of people in my business see, wow, you got such a cool job. You get to have a cigar. You get to network. You get to meet people. That's all great. But at the end of the day, the bills got to get paid. You know what I mean? So it comes with a lot of other variables. But overall, again, in the way I see it, there's no looking back, only looking forward, roll with the punches, and try to figure out how you can work with your local community, how you can network, being blessed with meeting people such as yourselves, trying to take part in social media and being taught by Anthony that, you know what, through Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, we can reach out to so many other people and we can explain our story or just promote ourselves to a certain degree where people get to know a little bit about us as individuals and not just the cigar, so to speak. So I'm very blessed with meeting all of you, and I thank you for taking the time to spend your afternoon with me, and I appreciate everyone out there that's listening to our story.
You are such a gentleman.
You are.
You really are such a gentleman, Ark.
Thank you.
I tell everyone this. I'm hard pressed to meet people that are as nice and as generous as you.
Class act.
Very hard pressed.
I can't take any credit for it. I leave that to my mother and father, who unfortunately left this world way too soon. And my goal, one of many other goals that I have, is to always carry their name in honor and always to try to do the right thing. Very far from perfect, but just try to be a good person.
You mentioned before, like, I don't have my mom and dad standing behind me if something should go wrong. What you do have, and this is from now having spent a lot of time with you and hearing a lot of stories about your father and, the way he worked and his work ethic. And I think that's definitely one of the things that he left you is that work ethic. And that's something that you'll have for the rest of your life is that stick-to-itiveness. And, I have to take care of my family. I have to put food on the table. And, I'm going to do it However I got to do, I'm going to do it any way possible. And that's tremendous. What was it like growing up, you know, when your parents were around, you know, you, your brother, your sister, growing up in Williamsburg, and what is it that your father did in Williamsburg?
My father was a custom kitchen cabinet maker. The man was an artist. He brought in sheets of 4x8 plywood, oak, whatever, and turned it into custom-made kitchen cabinets, vanities, doors, frames, picture frames, radiator covers, countertops. You mentioned it, my father made it. In the neighborhood, my father was called the captain. My father was always in charge of having a good time and doing the right thing by everybody. Il capitano. Everybody knew him as the captain. But the man worked out of our 4-car garage, out of our home, and not only built cabinets, but also built relationships and provided a service to his friends and family that needed a spot to pull over to vent of what a bad day they were having. It was the best. He'll be using his table saw, cutting wood, and a friend would come in and go, Captain, you don't understand, my God, traffic for 2 hours. Come on, vieni qua, come with me. Go in his office and have a little shot of homemade wine. The guy would relax, hang out. My father would talk to him. Thank you, Captain. The guy would leave, and he'd continue working. And that was great. And nothing makes me happier. And I swear to God, I was there in the neighborhood this weekend. I showed my 12-year-old daughter and my sister's 2 sons all the woodworking that still exists in the neighborhood that my father built. Everything from, there's a couple of houses that we passed by that haven't been remodeled or what have you, that the number of the building is got a wooden plate behind it, and my father built it. Unfortunately, we went to a dear friend's funeral for his father last week, and I'm there with my nephews and my daughter. I'm like, you see all the crown molding around this funeral home? My father, your grandfather, built that 40 years ago. It's still there. It still looks perfect. And nothing makes me happier than when I get the opportunity. 2 of my friends recently, within the last 6 months, said, Arcangelo, it breaks my heart. After 30 years, we're going to renovate the kitchen. I don't want to do it. My wife says we have to do it. I'm taking apart your father's kitchen cabinets. They all look like the same day they installed them. Would you like one? I said I'd be honored. So I have 2 different cabinets, 2 cabinet pieces from 2 different kitchens from the neighborhood. My wife's like, Arcangelo, what are you doing? Like, and I just, as soon as I mention my mom or dad, she knows it's very important to me.
Yeah.
So the basement's got, my wife is a perfect interior decorator, but now with these pieces of furniture, it looks really out there in the basement. At least it's in the basement, but she knows it's sentimental to me. They're pristine condition, and I'm honored to have them. And I know what it took, the sweat and hard work it took on my father's behalf to build those cabinets, to make a small profit, to make sure that we had everything we needed on our kitchen table every day.
What was the atmosphere like working in the finance sector? Like, I would imagine, because like you have a lot of great stories about nightlife, and you know you indulge in a way that only someone with real life experience can. Only someone who's read the script before can. So does it come from being a part of that world, or were you kind of always a nightlife type person?
I think it's a combination of both. Being blessed and surrounded by very wealthy people attracted unique, luxurious experiences. But being brought up to be respectful, kind, gentlemanlike helped a lot. For example, I probably couldn't shine 98% of the people shoes that I rolled with on a daily basis, but I had a limousine on retainer. And when I called my limo, while the other guy was in the yellow cab, my limo showed up. And I would invite the guys that made 15 times more money than I did to come with me to enter the place that we were both going. Very simple story. Across the street from Jeffrey's used to be Rothman's Steakhouse. The bar would be 3 deep from big shots of my company. I'd be a nobody, fourth guy behind the bar. A rolling cart would come out with the house potato chips and a bottle of water for me, while I don't want to say the CEOs, but the vice presidents and the senior partners are waiting to get a drink. Who the hell am I? Just a guy that showed respect, to the guy that gave you the towel in the bathroom, that now became the busboy, that now became the head bartender. And that's the difference. And they would come out and they'd be like, how do you get, we pay you too much, Arcangelo. No, you don't. It's just, I show a little bit more respect than you do. And not to say that I write the book on that. It's just, it's what I do. And
Yeah.
just coincidentally, you show everybody respect regardless of what their title is or what they do or what they don't. And it's amazing how that is a true story, that from the guy that was the bathroom monitor became one of the head bartenders at one of the best nightclubs in New York City, and that's how we were treated. I love that.
Where did you make the jump from Wall Street to like a cigar store owner? Like, walk me through the progression.
The progression was simple. It's called love. And you do what you do for love, and love is blind. And I wanted to make my wife happy by moving to Long Island. It was just setting up all the stars. I mean, it was just, I was just not happy. Going to high school in Manhattan, college in Manhattan, my whole career being in Manhattan, being 15 minutes away from Manhattan, to now being subject to a scheduled train ride, sometimes falling asleep, winding up in Ronkonkoma.
Oh, you got Ronkonked?
Oh my God, yes. Then you have to turn
You've
around.
been Ronkonked?
An hour. You have to wait an hour to turn around. I just didn't like it no more. So I think everything happens for a reason. Me meeting this gentleman, Tom, that owned this cigar company, the priest asking for help, and my friend suing and winning some money and having my first cigar, it was all meant to be. Listen, this all sounds great on the podcast, but the reality, we're not saving lives, right? We sell cigars. I mean, at the end of the day, we save cigars, we sell cigars, but we do make some people happy, and we touch some people's lives in different ways as a place to go and vent and express themselves and hang out, and provides a shelter for some.
Yeah.
So we do provide a public service, but again, we're not doctors here. We're not saving lives.
No,
It's
but-
just we sell cigars, and we try to be the best at what we do.
You know how many deals? You know how many deals were made under your roof?
100%.
How many elbows were rubbed that wouldn't have otherwise
100%.
come in contact if it weren't for your place?
And everything from financial transactions to friendships that became family to a whole, I mean, I could make a list of things that happened, all positive, that the Little Cigar Factory Lounge has created for these individuals. And
Yeah.
you know what? And it's a blessing for me. And it's and so they definitely show their appreciation, their loyalty to me. And they've expressed it. If there wasn't for Arcangelo, if there wasn't for this place, if the a dear friend of mine didn't move because of the lounge, because the family of friends that he made. One of my closest friends from that cigar lounge has a beautiful yacht, 48-foot yacht. Very successful individual, big boat, but because he's very successful and a lot of people are younger than him, have to work, didn't have the schedule or the availability to go out on his yacht with him often. A lot of the people that come to the cigar lounge are entrepreneurs and have that flexibility. So we almost every single Friday we're going out on his yacht, and we go everywhere and anywhere. And we would go to get gas, fill up the gas tank, and I would watch. It'd be 1,000, 1,100, 1,000, and as the price increased, the more he smiled. And it took me a while to realize this man is so happy and satisfied that his boat is finally being used
Yeah.
with the people that he enjoys their company. We all love cigars. We're smoking cigars on it. We're going to Prime in Connecticut. We're going to Port Washington. And that fulfilled the ironic part. It's costing him thousands, but he's smiling. And it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
But he's smiling ear to ear genuinely because he's using his passion, his boat. We have a very small window of opportunity here in New York with the weather to enjoy a vessel of that type. And that made him happy. Friends of mine bought a restaurant from other friends of mine. Friend of mine bought a car from a friend of mine. Another great story. A guy has a plumbing supply house, a small mom and pop plumbing supply house. My friend does construction in New York City, very successful, been in business 40 years. Hey, what do you do? I sell plumbing supplies. What do you do? I own a construction company. I don't do much business, maybe only about $250,000 in plumbing, like toilets and sinks. Why give it to this guy? I don't know who he is. You're a member at the Cigar Lounge? Do you mind taking my business? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was life-changing, but this guy's getting anywhere between $200,000 and $250,000 a year in extra business because of the cigar, because of me, because of the Little Cigar Factory. And that, to me, is the most beautiful thing that I could do, is bring people together, all caliber of individuals together, And hopefully, through the power of numbers, we're stronger and we unite and help each other and network and look out for one another. And that's how it should be.
Really, where I was going with that nightlife question, Ark, is pre Francine, you were a salsa dancer. You took salsa lessons.
Yes.
So at the time, help me paint this picture for me, because I'll be honest with you, my mother for my birthday got me salsa lessons. I still haven't gone.
Life changing.
Really? How old are you? What are you doing? Where are you living? Why salsa lessons? And tell us the story of how you became one of the greatest dancers in the class.
So what happened was, like everything I feel in my life, I always caught the tail end of everything. So when I started learning salsa, it was the tail end. My cousin Dino was begging me for a very long time, Arcangelo, you have to take salsa, you have to take salsa. I never took him serious because I always like going out, what have you, and just having fun. I go to a salsa lesson with him. I'm probably 23, 24 at the time, and it was great. Obviously, so listen, reality is, right, I'm fat, short, and bald. But the difference is that I worked hard and I always had a couple bucks in my pocket, and I had something that a lot of guys lack, called respect for women. And I would go out always with that, trying to be a gentleman, offer a lady a drink, and do the right thing. Going to the Copacabana a couple times, so what I thought were beautiful women, I'd be by the bar. I'm always the first guy to offer drinks, which I could absolutely not. And I would see my version of what I thought like a little bit of a nerd or geek, no disrespect to anyone that looked like a geek or nerd type of guy, ask that same girl, do you want to dance? And she would say yes. That's when I realized that it wasn't about the drink, it was about the dance.
Yeah.
But then, being a little witty and a little smarter than the guy that knew how to dance, I realized it wasn't about you schmuck dancing with the girl and trying to show off that you know how to do a barrel turn or what have you. It was about making the girl look even better than she already was, even prettier than whatever she was. You're the frame, she's the picture. You got to keep that in your mind. When you're going to the Copa back then with these guys that took all these lessons, all they want to do is show off. Me, I just want to use that as a little bit of an advantage, besides not being turned away when I offer the drink, now able to ask her to dance. Now you ask her to dance and you act like a classy gentleman, making her look great. Then you bring her to the bar for the cocktail. Then you have a chance to go to dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You sound like the perfect wingman.
This is what
Wingman. He was the star of the show.
No, I know, but like I'm saying, for like another guy, because he's married now, he sounds like a perfect wingman.
That's true.
And we had a lot of fun doing it. And then I just Jose Cruz, my salsa instructor. Next thing you know, like, oh, we're gonna have a Bala de la Rosa. We're gonna go to Vermont. We're renting houses. I'm like, sign me up for that. Sign me up for that. I'm like, this guy probably thinks I'm a loser. I have no life. Meanwhile, I'm already too busy. I have too much of a packed social life that I really didn't need this other venture. But it became life changing. It built up a lot of confidence. It was a great workout. Made a lot of new friends, and it was always positive. But again, just like Wall Street, I caught the tail end where the salsa bands didn't. We were going out 6 out of 7 nights a week to dance and watch live
bands,
I love
big
that.
horns,
Underground.
horn section, the clave, everything.
I mean, everything from Monday.
that.
We had Central Park. What was it? Tavern on
Tavern on the Park.
on Monday.
Is it Tavern on the Green or Tavern on the
Monday.
Park?
Tuesdays used to be the Copacabana.
Tavern on the Green. I'm thinking of Terrace on the Park in
Yes, yeah. Over in
Corona.
Tuesdays, Copacabana. Wednesday used to be a place called Nelly's. Thursdays we used to go to a place called Cafe Remy. Friday we used to go to Sequoia. Saturday back to the Copa. And throw a couple of other hidden underground places. There was a place to dance 7 days a week. And a lot of times it was nice that you would network and you would bring your classmates, because part of the not only taking lessons, you have to practice like everything else. So imagine having 4 or 5 hot student friends, and you felt like flat, short, and bald. I could call this girl, and hey, Sabrina, you want to come dance? Of course, because they knew you were a good guy, and we're going to go there. Listen, it was all about the art of the dance, right? Now you have to be who you have to be to take it to the next level, whatever that may be. Go to dinner or have a drink or relationship. That's up to you, but. The salsa was a tremendous door opener for a fat, short, bald guy like me to get into those circles.
Wow.
I'm speechless.
It was great.
No, and
You need to write a book.
Listen, nowadays nobody reads anymore. We got to do podcasts, right? So now you got to listen.
this is it.
Got to listen. They got to break in. They got to break into Breaking Bread's podcast, and they could be taught.
Well, this is your lesson: how to be a classy, badass
Gentlemen.
They need it.
Yeah.
They need it.
Rose right, they need it.
Shade Throne.
I mean, Ark he's just that. He's a family man. He's a Renaissance man, and everything he does and every path he goes down in life, he beats it with full steps, and he really takes it, really embraces everything in life. Which has been something that I've admired. You know, both the good and the bad. You have such a tactfulness about you to be able to adapt and adapt the situations to yourself rather than you adapting the situation.
Thank you for coming on, Ark.
Thank you.
Salute. Arcangelo Fiore, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a real treat. And thanks to one of our dear friends for joining us.
Salute.